Hi, I'm Erin from the Witch of Saturn here with Jay of Iridescent Tarot. We're back with another Deck Connectors Club, two of Mom's Tarot episode. This week we've been working with Tarot of Persephone's Garden by Kara Small.
We are in turbo mode. We're getting this episode in and out, baby.
We got a lot going on today.
So
Let's get
so
to it.
yeah. So we keeping this or not?
I'm keeping it, but I kind of knew
Okay.
that going in. I'm curious about what you're doing.
I'm keeping it ultimately.
Ooh,
I think for me that I didn't come to that conclusion until my last two readings. So basically,
interesting.
this for us this week was like very chaotic. Like we filmed our Halloween episode on Friday, and so this is like a very quick turnaround time for us. So I did have to double up my readings for this. So when I was like starting in the beginning, I was like, okay, like I like the deck, but I don't know, like it needs some time to marinate. And then when I finished the day 5 prompts, I was like, oh no, like I want to keep this deck. And I think one thing for me is it's really hard for me to feel like the deck is mine when it's got raw edges. It's such a weird thing.
No,
But
I
like
get
I feel like until I edged this deck, it's not truly mine. And I didn't want to edge it unless I knew that I wanted to keep it. So like I was in this weird catch 22 where it was like it doesn't feel like it's mine, but if I edge it, then it has to be mine. So I'm really glad that by the end of prompt 5, I felt like, oh no, I want to keep this deck because now I can edge it and really sink into my relationship with it. But yeah, that's like a weird thing that happened for me.
I mean, but at least you did coordinate your nail polish with her.
This
So
was
there's that.
unintentional. Did you edge your deck yet?
No, I didn't, but I did order the marker for the edging, because
Okay.
I brought the deck to my friend Jamie's house, to Jamie Sawyer's house, who has like a full, like she's got all the craft. She's an artist. She's got all the supplies. And I was like, why am I going to try to match the color of this online and get it wrong when I can just bring it there and be like, try 5 different markers and line it up with the borders. And I think I got pretty close. So we'll see how.
How confident are you about the color match on it?
I mean, like 98%.
Okay, cool. And then so you're gonna try it once it comes in, and then I'm gonna decide based on that if I want to use the same color.
Yes, you're welcome. If mine looks like
Okay.
crap, you know not to use that marker.
I love the process. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, someone might as well benefit from it, right?
Right.
So this was like this working with this deck in the beginning felt a little bit disjointed to me because I had done my deck interview with it a while ago when I first got it in. Because I've been
Same.
working with this deck for the Persephone work and just strictly using it for that purpose. I hadn't been reading with it on its own. But like, I don't know, the deck interview felt like it was long ago enough that I kind of forgot what it was. Like, I like to kind of, if I know that there's a deck that we're using for Deck Connectors Club and I haven't worked with it much, I kind of like save it so that it could be fresh.
Yeah.
And then I used the deck with Library of Questions really kind of on its own because I wanted to do the Halloween spreads in Library of Questions. And I was like, oh, well, I might as well tie it in with deck connectors. But it did feel, those two things felt like they were happening kind of separate from the like homework of Deck Connectors Club, if you will. And then
Yeah.
I was really glad that, and then we had also filmed Lacrimosa. And in that, you had said to me, oh, did you do the thing where you lay out the full deck for Lacrimosa? And I was like, no, I didn't. I forgot to do that. So I did it with Lacrimosa and immediately was like, okay, this is a fatal error. I can never skip this step again because it puts so much into perspective for me. It's so helpful that I just feel like it's an essential part of the deck connecting process for me that I can't skip again. And
Yeah.
at that same time, I realized I hadn't done it for Tarot of Persephone's Garden. So I did it for this deck. And man, it just really helps me to understand what it really helps me with is that if there are a handful of cards in the deck that I'm like, meh, or I don't really get this card for this, like this art for this card, that just feel like a little disjointed for me or something, it helps me to know that before I start reading with it. Because if that card comes up in a reading, I get that same vibe. And knowing
Yeah.
that, oh no, it's the card, right? Like, okay, well, I just have to, pull a different meaning from my head or look at this a different way. It just gives me that information about my relationship to that card beforehand, this context. So when it shows up in a reading, I'm already aware of it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Does it make you feel like if you pull one of those quote problematic cards that you're like, oh, this is a card problem and not a deck problem?
Yes, exactly. Because if I don't
Cool.
know
Got it.
that,
Yeah. I
like if I don't know that it's a quote unquote problem card and it comes up in the reading, I feel like the whole reading is one of those like, well, what the fuck? What does this mean?
yes.
Like I'm like,
Yep.
huh? Huh?
Yep.
And knowing that no, it's just that this one particular card, it helps me to flow through the reading better.
Okay. I got you.
And so and of course, those cards are the ones that pop up for me.
Right. Yeah. The ones that
Like
you don't want to see are always.
yeah, I'm like undoubtedly pulling them. So,
And
so that was,
that is something I do struggle with this deck. There are a handful of cards that I'm like, ooh, like they really grate me.
yeah, there are. And we kind of went through them, where I was like, I hate this card.
Yeah.
This card, I don't get this card. And these ones are all like not my favorite.
See,
Um,
it's hard because in my video that I talked about three different abstract decks, and I had mentioned that like my favorite deck that I have of abstract decks, that there's like a handful of cards that are straight up no's for me. And somebody in the comments, and one of the comments was about how if there were any cards in a deck that were straight up no's, then that person would not use a deck that they felt like that about. And I think that's so interesting that we can like all have these different ways of like using decks and then feeling like, oh, if there's one no for me, the whole deck is a no. And then there's other people like you and I who are like, well, like there could be a handful of no's, but as long as like the entirety of the deck works for me, like I'm okay putting up with that.
yeah, and I'm just over here laughing, thinking that like if you were like that, you in particular, as like if you said if one card is a no for me, the deck is out, you would only have five decks.
You're so freaking right. I knew you were gonna say that. I
We would be in
I
such trouble if you
there would be no deck collection. There would be deck.
there'd be a deck. That's it. You would
It would
have
be
like Majestic Earth, Playful Heart, and I don't
no.
know what
I
else.
wouldn't even have those because in Majestic Earth, I don't like the Wheel of Fortune, and in Playful Heart, I don't like Ten of Swords. So I would have no decks that I could use.
Oh, that's right, because of like the X eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah, you would have no decks. So good
I
thing
would. I'd
you're
be an Oracle
patient.
reader.
Good thing we can work with this. We can work within the structure. I feel like if there are just a handful of cards that I think it's an unrealistic expectation to like every single card of every single.
Yeah. I've never felt that way about a deck where it's like every single card is a hit.
So then when I started, I had an easier time pairing this deck than I did Lacrimosa, which I was kind of intrigued me because I feel like they are, they're both curated art decks. They both have a very set color palette. Um, that I found a little more challenging with Lacrimosa for my need for things to be aesthetically pleasing as well as work well together. And
Yeah.
this, I didn't really have that. I liked the the pairings that I went with were they are both kind of the same colorway, let's say, because I used Coastal Curiosities, the Naturalist edition, that I thought looked
Yep.
really good with the burgundy borders and this tan background. Um, I thought that the style of this deck, which is kind of quirky and unique. I liked it with a curated art deck, which I wasn't surprised by because this is by Lennox Reese. She also makes fantastic curated art decks. So it just it worked really well. Look at this card. That looks so good with that, right?
Hold it up closer. I think that I like this pairing, but it's not knock it out of the park for me.
Well, fair.
You're like, okay, bitch, whatever.
Well, what do you pair with? That's like, okay, show me the better.
Oh, you're not gonna like what I pair it with. I'm not much better, okay? All right. My pairings, this first one, you're gonna be like, oh, get out of here with this.
Okay, hold on.
No room to talk. This is the poets. What the heck is it called? The Count the Ways the Poets Oracle. And the reading was good. I will say the reading was good, but like,
Aesthetics, yeah. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not bad.
and then my other pairing. This actually looks really good right here.
Oh, yeah, that does look really nice.
Yeah, and I liked the
The gold. Yeah,
the
same.
gold. And then my only real like true pairing. Oh, what the heck? I feel like these go together really well.
Yeah, they really do. God, I really need that deck. I really need
I know.
that color
Every time I
line.
show it, every time I show it, I know that I'm like draining money from your bank account.
I really do enjoy it.
Okay, so what was your other pairing?
My other pairing was Antique Anatomy Oddities.
So that's like
Oracle.
the same
I know,
color
I
scheme
told you.
as Coastal.
Yes, like I went with the same. I was like, oh, that worked. Let me try it with this. Like, I know that aesthetically I found it pleasing. So, but they're very different decks in terms of the energy or vibe of the reading. Like, they're not, they look the same color palette, but they're not the same type of read. And this was, I think, my favorite just because the reading itself was so lovely and just really
Ah,
nice. And it was, this was interesting too, because I realized that a lot of times when I am working with oracles and tarot paired together, I'm not usually asking like a very specific question. I'm kind of letting the oracle determine the spread positions. Like I'm just throwing down cards and seeing what they have to say and being really open to whatever messages I'm receiving. And this time for this day, I asked a very specific question and I got a really clear reading, and I think it worked really nicely. Something that I also did differently this week was I just pulled one oracle card instead of doing like a standard 3 by 3. I tried to kind of pare it back. I think
yeah.
because the week before I had overdone it with Death Doula in that way, where I was like, oh, this is way too much. Like these readings are too intense, and I just needed to kind of pull everything back a little. And so I liked that difference in keeping it a little more simple.
I like that too. Yeah, I think that you've mentioned that you've had some struggles lately with oracles. And I think whenever we encounter these periods of time where like something isn't working for us, pairing it back to like very low numbers, either with how many tarot cards we pull, how many oracles we pull, what the spreads look like, going simple is a really nice palette cleanser to like recalibrate ourselves.
It definitely felt like I needed that just in general this week, also where I was at. And so yeah, that was nice to do. The other thing I kind of struggled with was one of the spreads with library of questions. This is how I feel about tarot spreads sometimes. Here we go. Is that sometimes I feel like I'm reading through a spread, I'm shuffling, I'm intentionally being like, these are the questions for these positions. And then the cards I pull are like, yeah, we're not fucking talking about that. Like, like, like
Oh my
defiant
God.
or something. They just, when I look at them on their own, they make sense. But when I try to force them into the spread positions and the questions, I'm kind of like, what? Huh? Like I don't
Yeah.
know. Do you have that? Is that just me? Is it me thing?
Okay. Describe it again in different language and let me see if I can relate.
Okay. Let's say you have a past, present, future. We'll just break it down really, really basic, right? That you're doing a spread that's just like past position, present position, future position. And then you pull the cards and they're like, yeah, we're only talking about what's happening right now. Like the cards themselves don't make sense on their own, but don't match up when you put them in the box of the spread position.
Ooh, okay. So I think that I then manhandle the cards into making sense.
I mean, I do that too, but then I'm like, maybe they just have their own thing to say and they're
Mm.
just defiant of the spread. Like, yeah, we're not doing this. We have some other message for you. Have you ever had tarot be like, tell you like, bitch, I already answered that, you know?
Yes, yeah. Well, that's why I've been scared off of asking the same thing multiple different decks. Whereas you're like, oh, I'm just gonna like see what this one has to say, and I'll see what this one has to say, and like I'll gather the information that I want. I'm like, no, if you've done it once, you've done it. Go away from it. Like, leave it alone.
Yeah. No, I'm more open to it smacking me in
Yeah,
the face if it wants to. Tell me to go to bed.
I've been bitten. I've been bitten too many times.
Speaking of, so I don't know why I did this, but on the day that I had that really lovely reading with Antique Anatomy Oddities, like really pared back, and I was just asked that specific question, and it gave me a really nice answer that I wanted to hear. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna close this with good old grandma. Like,
What the hell?
I was
You
like,
that is some sort of twisted self-punishment thing you
okay,
have going on.
so I thought it was going to be either that. I'm like, either I am, a masochist and I'm just
Yeah.
wanting this is too nice and I don't deserve it. But it really wasn't that. I don't know. I don't know why. I just thought the thing that I thought might happen, I was like, maybe this will be a way for me to kind of redeem or shift my relationship with good old grandma. Like maybe in this
Okay.
reading, she'll come through in a really nice and supportive way. And that's what she did. I was so pleased. I was like,
Okay.
oh, that was such a nice breath of fresh air. Like she didn't smack me in the face, and I feel a little less scared to approach
Oh my
approach
goodness.
grandma with questions now.
Now,
Because
but now I need you to do a reading on why you would feel the need to pull something that would destroy your beautiful spread.
well, it didn't, but it didn't. I thought it would go either way. I was like, it's a gamble.
It
That's
had
what I do.
it
I'm like,
had a
let's
high
let's
likelihood.
let's roll the dice. Let's do this. Let's go. I was really glad. I got what was the card? It was the morning, the scene that reminds you of the morning crowd. The scene with
I
like
I freaking love that card with the
I love this card.
waffles.
Yeah, the waffles and like you're sitting down with like your other old people friends and just shooting the shit over your morning coffee. It's
So wait. Pull that card up and hold it up because I have this theory that almost all of the cards have dual meanings. So my dual meaning for this might ruin your spread if I tell you what it is.
no, tell me what it is. I mean you ruin things for me all the time. It's fine.
What a glowing review of this friendship. Um,
It
so
goes
I
both
think
ways. I ruined the whole card for you in this deck.
you did ruin a whole entire card in this deck for me. That also might ruin the entire deck. I haven't decided yet. But Morning Crowd, I think of it as MOURN, morning crowd. Like
Oh,
it's the exactly. They're there
I
gathered
like
to
that.
remember their friend from the diner who passed away. Like they're.
Yeah, I mean, I don't dislike that. Like the waffles done.
The waffle has been cooked.
The waffles cooked.
We're
I
cooked,
do
bro.
think, well, it's funny you say that because this is the card that very clearly to me shows the double meaning with the clear intent because it's either like a clear intent of this nice offering of some tea, or it's like that Southern mentality of like, oh, bless your heart, which really means
Yes.
like go F yourself,
Yes, 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 yes.
right? So it's like it's not really a clear intent, or I think that that's very true of grandma.
Yeah, I love her dual meanings.
Yeah.
It's so smart. She's like way smarter than me.
She really is. She's smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did like it in in the context of the reading. I did like Grandma. I feel she's like a little less scary now, just a little. Still
Good. Nice.
about her. Um, and then oh well, here's an example of this morning. I did day 5 with 365 Dow, and I used Spirit Kittens for this one. I really loved the passage that I got in the book. It was about, I'm gonna say just grab it. I keep looking at it over there. It was about soul. It was the
Ooh,
entry
okay.
about soul and what is our soul? Is it there? Is it not? Um, and about it just, soul being a part of infused in everyday life. And so I went through the spirit kittens and I pulled 3 cards, 3 questions that specifically have soul in them, which I thought was like very cool that this deck has that.
Yes, that's why I like spirit kittens.
Yes, it's fantastic. And so I pulled connection, expression, and gratitude as the spread positions intentionally because of their reference to souls. And then this was a spread that, again, I kind of felt like the cards, I felt they matched up. They did. And it didn't require a lot of mental gymnastics to understand kind of what was being communicated. But at the same time, I do feel like they had their own meaning that was separate from the spread positions. And this is just something that I struggle with spreads in
Yeah.
general sometimes. And these were the cards. I mean, these are not like the most. So we've got the first was connection. And the question was, how can I foster a deeper connection with those around me, with nature, and with the universe? And
And
so
you got,
I got 5 of Swords, which I didn't take as I read the artwork in the deck, which I know we've been talking a lot about. Um, over the kind of codex meaning of 5 of Swords. And instead, I saw this as a way to connect more by kind of drowning out the excess noise around me or the things that are pulling me away from my purpose and connection and what I truly care about. Like, let's see,
yeah.
right? What song am I longing to sing for expression as the keyword? And I got
Okay.
5 of Wands. And I thought that these
Ooh,
cards really mirrored each other,
yeah, for sure.
right? With like being chased by these things that are not serving you and instead like letting yourself be guided and pulled by what your heart really wants and desires. Yes.
Yep, yep.
But I had to kind of ditch you can't really go off of the traditional meanings of 5 of Swords or 5 of Wands to get to that,
To
right?
get there. Yes.
Very
Yep.
clearly like communicated through the artwork itself.
I think that's valid though. Like I think I said this in one of my most recent videos where it's like if we're not using the images as a data point in the reading, then what is the point of having the different decks? So I think
Yeah.
it's totally valid to be pulling that and not using your codex if the initial hit that you get from seeing the words 5 of Swords does not make sense.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my last position was gratitude, where the question was, what is making my heart sing, even if it is a quiet, momentary song? And for that, I mean, this is like a 10 of Swords with dead Ophelia
Oh yeah.
floating in the water. And so on the surface, this is what I'm saying. On the surface with this reading, if you pulled
Yeah.
5 of Wands, 5 of Swords, and 10 of Swords, like it doesn't really fit the connection, expression, gratitude, spread positions. But if you look more
So
closely, like this is,
yes.
letting like something has the worst is over, some suffering has ended, something has already passed, and now you can move forward into something new, right? That's what I took from this in terms of gratitude.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so what else do you have?
So let me just look at my notes here. Blah, blah, blah. One of the things when I was watching reviews on this before I decided to purchase it was Racine. Owl Moon 513 had said that this deck in particular, she worded it in such a nice way, and I'm not going to be able to remake the wording
Yes,
that she used, but
as she
essentially the
does.
as she does. But the point that she was making is that this deck is very helpful for body image, like something about the figures in the paintings is like really helps with body image. And that's something that I was like, ooh, I love that. I need that. Yes. And so I've kind of had that in the back of my mind too when working with this deck, that it's like a very, it can be used for anything, but also it has this undercurrent of like body image and body acceptance, I
Yeah,
guess.
accepting
And
the
I've
body.
really enjoyed having that kind of tidbit in the back of my mind for this.
I love that.
I also think that I initially went into this hoping that it was a sort of stand-in for the Tarot of Delphi, because that's one of my white whale decks. Like I always kind of wanted a copy of that. But the more that I spend time with this deck, the more that I feel like this one is more me than Tarot of Delphi would be. And that's kind of like this idealistic, dreamlike version of me that like I think if I got the deck, it would be like maybe it would be kind of like a letdown. Whereas this one I was able to buy while in print, so a reasonable indie price, and like I'm enjoying working with it now, and I like the images in the deck overall. And so I feel like I should just appreciate this deck right now in the moment for what it is, and not like wistfully wish for Tarot of Delphi anymore.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's big.
I think so too. Um, and then I did also in my flip through that I filmed of this, which by the way, I took out all the nudity cards. That's why we've only been looking at like the same 10 cards.
There's a lot.
But in my flip in my flip through, I kind of went into detail about how right out of the gate this deck gave me a lot of synchronicities. So I had pulled a spread and then like pulled out cards that I really liked or really disliked, and I like in depth looked at a total of 11 cards on this one day. And then the next day, I had pulled a 6 card spread, and all 6 of those cards were cards that I had looked at in depth. So from those 11, I repulled 6. And so I went in and did like all this math to try to figure out what the chances of that happening were. And it was like a one in, I don't even remember now, like 260 billion chance, something absurd that would happen. And so I feel like that was such a sign to me to like really truly give this deck its moment in the sun, its chance, and not write it off for simple things like not liking the Wheel of Fortune, like get over this one card and try to appreciate it for what it is.
But I do think that that was a very powerful experience with this deck, and I felt like my interview with this deck was very powerful.
Uh-huh.
Like right from the jump, I was just like, oh yeah, I really like what this deck has to say, and I do think it's a very clear reader overall. Um,
Yes.
I have a question about the card stock for you, which
Yes.
is we were just talking last night about curated art decks and preferred card stock for them, and linen
Yep.
being something that I'm a little on the fence about. You say you like it because it looks more like a canvas, which I agree.
Yes.
I like that. But what do you feel about this particular type of linen?
Oh, yeah. So,
Because I was saying, yeah, like I like linen. It does give that canvas feel. You're right. But if it's too linen-y, then sometimes I feel like it obscures the artwork. And
yes.
so it has to be
So,
the perfect,
yeah, that's like so Princess and the Pea. Like,
you know?
it's got to be linen, but it can't be too linen for me. Okay, all right. Well, I think that we have become spoiled by
Yes.
folkloric forest,
There we go.
and
There it is.
that is the ultimate in linen
Oh,
cardstock,
it
right?
is.
Like the
Yes.
the matte finish, the weight of the card, like that is the ultimate. And so this does, it feels less luxurious, I will say.
Okay. Yeah, I think that maybe it's the lack of the matte finish, like that maybe I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind the amount of texture on the linen if it were more matte. I think maybe it's the combination of like the way that the light hits it and the texture, making it feel just a little more muted or muddled than I would like. And like
Yeah.
truly, you're right that it's just not folkloric forest.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would rather have this card stock than others. This
Like,
has good, it has good bounce back. It shuffles well. If it
yes.
had gilding on it, I think that I would be in La La Land about it, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I was just curious because we had had that,
Yeah.
private conversation about the curated art on the linen cardstock that now is bouncing around in my head, and this is kind of like one where I do feel like I'm like, oh, would it be a little clearer if it were not on linen? Does linen add or detract? I kind of just have that in my head. But I do
Yeah.
overall, I'm not knocking the quality of this deck. It's great. And I mean, I got this and then went and bought Tarot of the Huntress because I liked it so much.
Yeah, I will say that I do have like a decent amount of chipping on the edges already, which I don't mind, but I do want to get it edged before I continue chipping it because I think it's like a little bit harder to edge it well when it's ripped up. So I think I'm going to pause working with this deck until
You can
we
edge
get
it.
the edging done. That way, while I'm chipping it, it's making it look I don't know. I'd rather have it edged and then chip rather than chip and then edge.
Understood.
Yeah. So I think I'm putting her away until I can get that done. So
So hurry
when's your marker arriving?
up, hurry up and edge yours, Erin, is the point of that. I don't know. I'll check. I'll check my tracking.
Okay. A lot is hinging on this marker.
I seriously, I'm nervous. I'm sweating. All right, so I think that's it, right? Do we want to talk about what else we're doing this month?
Yeah. So
So next week we are working with the Death Doula Oracle. This is our first oracle that we are bringing into Deck Connectors Club, which is an idea that we've been bouncing around for a little while now. Especially since I've been talking a lot, working a lot on connecting with oracles. It seems like a really nice way to do that, right? Is to see if we can apply this practice to not only just tarot decks, but oracle decks as well. And we did come up with an alternative plan for this.
so
Had to be tweaked.
yes. So basically, it's going to follow a similar structure to our normal deck connectors, but it's going to be slightly modified. So, first of all, our interview is going to be a little bit abbreviated. So, we're going to pare it down to 3 cards, one that represents the deck, one that represents the person reading, and then one that represents the relationship of the person and the deck together.
Yeah, you meet us.
You meet us. And then day 2, we're going to stick to either Library of Questions or one of the spreads from the Oracle's guidebook. In this instance, we both just watched the interview with the creator of this Oracle last night.
Yeah, we should link that below. That was with Tarot Maps. She did a great interview with Chris Williams, who's the creator of Death Doula. It was really interesting to hear a little bit more about him in the process of creating this deck. I do personally think that when doing a spread with just an oracle, I really like the idea of pairing it with a spread that was created for the oracle.
I like
Like,
that too. Yeah.
yeah, I think that it just because of my struggles with spreads sometimes, I feel like I could be really setting myself up for a lot of like, if I am just pulling a random spread and throwing some oracle cards down with it. I think that for me, it makes more sense to go from the guidebook, from something, a spread that's been created specifically to work with this deck by the creator very intentionally. So that's, I think, what I'm going to be doing on that day 2.
Cool. That's cool.
And
And
then,
then for days 3 and 4, it's going to be kind of opposite. So on day 3, we want it to be like a tarot reading with the oracle sprinkled in kind of as a seasoning. And day 4, it's going to be the oracle as the main meal with tarot kind of sprinkled in as the seasoning.
yeah, we'll still do pairings those days, tarot and oracle pairings. It will just be more focused on the oracle itself and how you can use oracles and tarot together to different degrees.
Yes. And
Different.
then last day.
And then last day, we're going to keep it kind of loose. We're still going to use 365 Tao and then kind of see how you want to. The rules are 365 Tao or any book of your choosing with the oracle. Use tarot, don't do one card, do a bunch, like just keep it flowing.
It's meant to be some kind of like meditation, bibliomancy style reading.
Yes. And that's it. There aren't too many rules about that.
Yes. And then what's the week after?
The week after will be Little Bird.
Yay!
So excited about this.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
So much fun. And the following week will be narrative alchemy.
Awesome. Cool.
And I
All right.
am like one of the things that I really wanted to do for some reason was work with this around the time of Thanksgiving.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I just feel like this is like a good deck for like gratitude or something.
Yes, 100%. I think
Yeah.
that it's got the guidebook has a very like grateful gratitude feeling and it feels like a friendsgiving.
Yes, totally. See, it just feels like it was like meant to be around that time.
Oh, I love that. Okay, that makes me really excited to do that too.
Good. Look at
All
us.
right, let's call it good.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe to both of our channels. Leave us a comment. We love to hear it. And we welcome you to participate in any way. It's so much fun when we see people doing Deck Connectors Club. Like Afton's been great. And now the Creatrix Way on Instagram is participating. And it's just
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah, we're so happy to see it. So thank you for tuning in and we will talk to you later. Signing out.